after Chairman Mao took over, they had this thing called the Great Leap Forward, and then they had the Cultural Revolution, and they eradicated any semblance of morality from society. And so they replaced Mao's little red book with success. And I don't begrudge them because they're very hardworking and intelligent people. The beef I have is when you don't have a moral core, you'll do anything. So we took a fact-finding trip to China a few months before, and we stayed at a nice hotel. We got to see, the hospital. If she's going to have a baby in China, this is what it'd be like. It's the expat hospital. It was very nice, very nice. And so she felt a lot more comfortable. Let's look at housing. What does the housing look like? Because, one has an image of what daily life is like in China. But at the time, China had millions of expats. And I mean millions.
Really?
Yeah. And so...
What year is this? I'm sorry.
It's in 04, 05 timeframe. And so, we went to visit some friends that I had down there. They lived very nicely. A lot of them were on expat packages with multinational firms. And it was good. It was very good living. And it was at the time where everybody, myself included, thought that China was going to develop just like a big version of South Korea or a big version of Japan, just 10 times bigger. And it looked like it was heading in that trajectory. I'll say it now, I was wrong. At some point, they did a 180 and they said, all right, now it's our turn. And the United States is a speed bump on our mission to global dominance. And that's when I had my sort of escape the matrix moment. I popped out of my pod and said, whoa, wait, what's going on here?
And how long did it take for that to happen?
I think it was a gradual evolution. When I first got there, everybody in China was super polite, very nice. And by the way, I have no animus at all. The Chinese people are lovely people. But I started noticing kind of a phase shift in the way people began treating Americans and foreigners generally. Initially, it was, hey, we're here to learn. We're very humble. Teach us about your manufacturing. Oh, wait, what does that computer do? And I had friends that were noticing things that were a little off kilter. So I had a friend that worked at a joint venture, a General Motors JV, where their Chinese JV partner was basically stealing everything. And so they were playing guerrilla warfare at the factory. Like, oh, don't look at those servers. Don't look at this manufacturing capability. Well, next thing you know, China creates a competitor to General Motors. The company was called Chery. And they took the Chevy Spark blueprints, down to the rivet, and created the Chery automobile. Notice that there's one letter difference between Chevy and Chery. Even the name.
Wow.
And so that was starting to happen, and it just got worse. Then
what are some of the other ones that you saw?
Well, I mean, look, we had a guy. I was on the finance committee at the American Chamber of Commerce, and I'm not going to say where this guy's company was from because that wouldn't be proper. But a guy came in, and he was the chief technology officer for, let's just say, a big manufacturing company in the U.S. And he sat down with us in the committee and said, the strangest thing happened. I plugged into the Ethernet at my hotel and my computer just died. And then when I resuscitated it, my hard drive was empty. And I was like, dude, really? You brought your hard drive with all your intellectual property to China? And at the time, nobody really thought about it. But I saw this happening every day. Every single day. I saw the craziest things in China.
What else did you see?
Well, so
did you have, I mean, obviously you did the way that you just described that incident, your reaction to it, but how did you know That they were sucking all the information out of the devices and kind of the...
Because I had started developing relationships with a lot of folks in China, and talk to them. And the operating philosophy is, well, if it's not bolted down, I'm just going to take it. They're just letting us have all this stuff for free. Thanks. But there's something more fundamental, and that is what happened in China after Chairman Mao took over is they had this thing called the Great Leap Forward, and then they had the Cultural Revolution, and they eradicated any semblance of morality from society. And so they replaced Mao's little red book, which was their religion at the time, with success, power, success, and the new little g gods became Ferragamo and Gucci and LVMH and success and Harvard. And when you're untethered from any sort of moral core, you'll do anything to become successful, powerful. And you have 1.4 billion people who are just out for bear, looking to make it. And I don't begrudge them because they're hardworking, very hardworking, and intelligent people. But the beef I have is when you don't have a moral core, you'll do anything. So here we are, we've got a kid in China, and we've got to buy infant formula. And my wife says, we're not buying Chinese milk formula. It's like, you got to be kidding me. There are like 200 million Chinese kids here, or whatever the number is. Nope. So every time I'd go to the States, I'd come back with 2 suitcases of Nestle Good Start, and she would buy Evian water, and I'm just like watching dollar bills evaporate, thinking it's like the stupidest thing. And it turned out, I want to say in 2007, 2008, that Chinese infant formula companies were putting a plastic called melamine in the infant formula that was poisoning countless children in China, because apparently that melamine artificially beefed up the protein so they basically were cutting corners and putting chemicals that were hurting people. So
this sounds like the FDA.
I don't know.
Sorry to cut you
off. So yeah, I've seen it all. I've been, screwed over more times. If I'm not getting screwed over in China, something is wrong. So if I'm at the signing ceremony of a deal, and it's happened to me on more than one occasion, you go to, let's say you're doing a deal in some random province in China. True story. I went to I think this was in, was it in Dalian? I don't remember where it was, but it was in a, not Shanghai, not Beijing. And I stayed at this hotel called the Galactic Peace Hotel, which I thought was funny. Because a lot of the names in China are very aspirational, even though they sound sort of silly to us. So I stayed at the Galactic Peace Hotel, and it says, "Welcome, famous American investor Eric Bethel." There's like this placard, in lights, right? Anyway, I go to sleep. The next day, we're at our signing ceremony, and you walk into a hallway, and you have guys with TV cameras looking at you. You've got 2 chairs. It's very imposing, one with an American flag, one with a Chinese flag. The municipal leadership team is there, from this municipality. And we're going to sign the deal. And I look at the numbers, and I look at the guy that I'm supposed to be doing the deal with, and it was like the number, we were supposed to be paying X, and he had like made it X plus 40%. And I said, "Bro, what's up with this?" And he's like, "Well, we had to change things at the last minute. You're okay with it, right?" And I said, "No, but everyone's here. Like, what are we gonna do? You have to sign." I was like, and I walked out. And so I'm walking out. Everyone's looking at me. It's very awkward. I'm hoping this isn't going to cause an incident. And so I'm about to get in my car, and the guy's like, okay. We'll go back to your original number.
Wow.
Welcome to China.
Wow, that's an everyday occurrence now.
Everyday occurrence.
No matter where you're watching Sean Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.